It has only been a couple of weeks since the national championships, and honestly, I wanted nothing more than a couple of weekends to sleep in. That was until the match director at Rattlesnake offered to hold the August match as a pair fire event. I immediately knew I had to go, as I had never fired pair fire at long range, and very few people have had the opportunity to pair fire at a facility as spicy as Rattlesnake. Fortunately, my teammate Chris offered to drive. Rattlesnake for us is a day trip. It's a long day starting in the wee hours of the morning for the 3.5-hour drive to get there before 7 a.m., when the rest of our families roll over and go back to sleep. Chris picked me up at 3:20 a.m. and off we went in the pre-dawn darkness. After the sun came up, I started to get the feeling that we had made a critical mistake. Wildfires had spread across eastern Oregon and Washington, leaving a thick layer of smoke across the area. Arriving on the range, I found a scene that looked much like a post-apocalyptic movie set. The sky was darkened with smoke and turned the sun blood red. That is what you could see of the sun. The air was warm, but you could not feel the sun's rays on your skin. It was hot and yet felt cold. The smoke and light burned the eyes and irritated the lungs. Only a few hardy souls had come out to play, but we were not deterred. We both wanted to be the hero of our own movie, Pair Fire Apocalypse. Let's hear from our prospective hero wannabe. As you can see behind me, there is a lot of smoke in the area. Visibility downrange was limited, and we learned quickly that the smoke made for an optical illusion that made for large changes in our elevation zeros. Not only that, but we had a tailwind, making mirage of limited use. If there had been any mirage. I would have given a lot to see some mirage at times, just to confirm my guesstimate of what the wind was doing. Both of us spent quite a bit of time adjusting our scope magnification up and down and our parallax adjustments back and forth in a futile effort to get a clear picture of the target. The smoke was already winning. With Chris and I paired together, it was an opportunity to see what two excellent rifles and shooters could do when paired together. On the first relay, we had unlimited sighters. The sequence was me shooting first for the odd-numbered shots, and then Chris on the even. Chris ended up firing a few more sighters than I did, so he string-fired his last 4 shots. What I learned about tuning and rifle evaluation is invaluable, and I want to share that with you today. I was shooting the suspect rifle that I had abandoned during the national championships. I was doing so simply to use up the ammunition left over from that event. I'll admit, the target is a mess after all that shooting, but let me work through it with you. There's an interesting lesson in all of this. My first sighter was quite high, but I had cleaned the barrel, so I thought that might be the cause. With unlimited sighters, it is worth firing a confirmation shot. Chris hit low, negatively affecting my ability to identify an illusion situation. My second sighter was an 8, not far from the first, so I dialed down 1.5 minutes. I want you to see this for yourself. After a few more rounds, you will notice that we are hitting on top of one another. Simply, or is that sadly? Anyway, neither of us realize that our rifle tunes are far better than we think they are at this point. Here's a great example of how the conditions can look like a tuning problem. Chris fired shot number 20 and hit a bit too high. I assumed that he had a flyer or rifle handling problem and held at the same vertical location as my prior shot, resulting in shot number 21, almost right on top of Chris's shot. I think Chris made the same assumption about my shot and held on the waterline again, resulting in shot number 22. Lesson learned. The conditions can make a rifle look like it lost its zero or the tune is bad when in fact the conditions are causing it. The likelihood that the two of us would fire 3 consecutive shots, making the same error every time, is astronomically low. I held low on shot number 23, resulting in this hit. Now let's take a look at shots 24, 25, and 26. See something interesting? How about 27 and 28? From that point on, we started playing chase on the target, and you can see the effect. Neither of us was able to see what was causing the vertical. Was it the smoke density going up and down? Was it the wind blowing up the canyon? Honestly, I never figured it out, but I learned how to play with it like a slow-moving zombie. Let's switch to a different target so I can show you what a flyer looks like on Parafire. I know this rifle produced some rather interesting flyers at Nationals. After I switched rifles there, the flyers went away, pretty well settling in my mind that it was this rifle causing it. Let's start mid-string here. I'm shooting the odd numbers again. Looking at shot number 17, and now 19. Let's add Chris's shot number 20 in. Now I fire number 21 and hit a high 9 just outside of the line. Chris doesn't correct for that shot at all and puts shot number 22 on the target. I hold the same elevation as the prior shot and put 23 on the target. That is before the wind changes for shot number 24, blowing Chris to the other side of the X-ring. In this case, number 21 is a flyer. Having the opportunity to talk to Chris after the relay confirmed this. There were several examples of one of us hitting at an unexpected elevation and the other hitting the opposite elevation, showing that we were adjusting off of one another's shots, even when they were flyers. The whole day was 5 relays. The first 2 were 20 shots each, and the remaining 3 were 15 shots each, all fired from 1,000 yards. The intent was to have an FPS qualifying match in just one day, saving those of us traveling some money. Both of us shot very well in tough conditions. I was able to squeak out the W, dropping only 7 points all day, with a decent X count. Even though we fired far more rounds than normally done in a one-day match, the light turnout combined with electronic targets and a very early start time resulted in Chris and I back on the road, heading home just after noon. The winds for this match were not light, but the angle of them made for rather small holds. I don't think either of us held outside of the 9 ring, nor did we dial any windage in all day. I'd like to do this again, on a day without the smoke, and with the winds that make Rattlesnake notorious. That's all I have for this one. Until next time, shoot straight, and I'll see you on the range.